So when asked, Theo Walcott says there's a massive buzz around the Emirates at the moment, and who would disagree with him? A 5-0 win against Aston Villa, a 2-0 win against Manchester City. Arsenal are flying at the moment, and what better test than the massive London derby against Tottenham? Let's talk some tactics. So if you want to check out the goals, click the link below. Otherwise, stick around. I'm going to tell you how both of these teams are going to pan out for this game. Arsenal first. So the formation in their last encounter is the standard 4-2-3-1 they're going with. So what's notable there is Ozil and Walcott make their way back into the team, with Ramsey and Coquelin holding that structured defensive midfielder position. Coquelin done a great job of allowing Ramsey to support the attack as well. And this is what I want to talk to you about really quick, is when Ozil played in the team before he got injured, he was playing out wide left a lot of the time. People were talking about why Arsene Wenger should play him in the centre, because wide he is isolated to runs down the right-hand side. When he gets caught too high up the field, Arsenal were sometimes punished. But that was when Arsenal were defensively poor, and I think they were overcommitting to a lot. Nowadays, they seem to have everything sussed out. They seem to have their back four all on the same page, which allowed for Ozil in this game to go forward without really worrying about anything else. But Ozil didn't just stick to this up and back role. He found his way inside the centre of midfield, and if you see Giroud, he holds a very high line, and he does it very well because he's not the quickest, but he draws defenders in to mark him, and that leaves room in behind for the likes of Cazorla, for the speedy Theo Walcott to come in behind, and of course for Ozil's goal, you've seen a prime example, stemmed right in behind, drilled it across goal and in. These three moved so fluent together, it was almost like they've been playing together for years without injuries like hindering the way they've been playing, but they looked so in tune, and I was very impressed with Arsenal, especially in the first half and towards the end of the second half as well against Aston Villa, and they're comfortable in their 5-0 win. So it's going to be a good test against an informed Tottenham. But one player we want to highlight just before we go into Tottenham is Olivier Giroud. He's in his ever since he came back from injury, he scored 2 goals, of course, against Newcastle, and then scored against Liverpool. He got that red card against Queen's Park Rangers, which many thought would have dampened his season, because he's got this tendency to try and go off the tracks when he's not in that hot run of form. But then he came back, fired against Manchester City, scored again, and then got an assist against Brighton, and then a big goal and an assist against Aston Villa, because he holds the line so well. As I said, if you watch them against Aston Villa, the 2 centre-backs tried to play an offside trap on Olivier Giroud, because he played right on the last man, and they tried to play an offside trap, but they couldn't get up quick enough, and it allowed for the guys of Walcott to stem in behind. You've seen Walcott's goal, and for Ozil as well. So it was very well structured from Arsene Wenger, putting Giroud up there. Let's talk about Tottenham. Also in a hot run of form, let's take a quick look at their formation. They will match up probably exactly the same as Arsenal with that 4-2-3-1. Mason and Paulinho. Paulinho sometimes switches with Dembele and goes forward. Eriksen, Lamela and Harry Kane. It is a ferocious front 3 or 4 with those guys going forward. Specifically Eriksen and Kane, that I'll talk about in a minute. But what I want to talk about is defensively. They do a great job of pressing high, Tottenham, but when they're on a counter-attack, say Arsenal stem back, this 4-2-3-1 turns into what looks like a 4-3. Just 2 banks, a bank of 4 and a bank of 3, because Dembele drops back and he works his ass off to defend. Mason, one of the hardest working players in the Premier League, who deserves his new contract with Tottenham, and Paulinho as well. The 3 of them shift back and forth and don't let anything go through. The best chance to catch Tottenham is balls over the top and behind, or direct passes through, as teams have shown against Tottenham. But they're in a hot run of form, and that is because when they attack, Dembele will come up and Paulinho will come up. Usually Mason will attack, but sometimes one of them will always sit. But it's this man, Eriksen. With the guys like Harry Kane, if you watch him specifically games against Chelsea, he takes players all the way wide, and what happened against Chelsea is guys like Ivanovic follow his run, and it allows big gaps for guys like Eriksen to go through and try and punish, because he's got a great finish, he's got a great strike. So what Arsenal will need to worry about is whether to follow the runs of Harry Kane. If they do so, they have to all shift across and make sure that they have that balance so there's no runs in behind, or they just kind of leave Harry Kane to be isolated out wide because he's not doing as much damage. But Kane, as we know, likes to play the odd 1-2 and get in behind and score. So it's going to be a very intriguing game. I still fancy Arsenal to win in the hot run of form they're in. I'm going to go for a 2-1 to Arsenal at White Hart Lane. It'll be interesting to see. Leave your comments in the section below. Subscribe to TYT Sports.